Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us on this talk. This is Vishwaveer Singh. I'm a journalist based in India, and I'm here to introduce to you Dr. Mosaraf Ali, who is joining us from Milan. Dr. Ali has been a medical practitioner for the last 40 years. He's been involved in alternate medicine and has gained a lot of fame and fortune in the UK and Europe and worldwide for having treated some of the world's most famous and influential people. Dr. Ali, without further ado, I'd like to put the question out to you. Today's topic, of course, is based on longevity and how we can live longer. Can you please give us your first views on that topic and what to you longevity means, sir?
Well, longevity is a very ancient topic. People were involved in doing things that would make them live longer and healthier and happier. So longevity means living beyond the average age of a person. It varies from country to country. In India, it could be in the mid-60s. In Europe, it's mid-80s. So, if you live beyond that and you're healthy with a sound mind, then, then you live longer. Now, that in itself is a sort of a rough estimate of one's lifespan. But what really matters is the rejuvenation or anti-aging, which is popularly called anti-aging, because that means you do things to live longer and happier and with a sound mind. So longevity and rejuvenation, these are two different expressions of probably the same thing. So I wanted to clarify that. Now,
Yes.
I have been, I had a master whom I met in 1977 while I was a student in Moscow. And there, he was an excellent man with yoga and so much of knowledge. And strangely enough, he was the air vice marshal at the same time, because during his earlier age, his father was the chief surgeon of Uttar Pradesh, United Provinces, and a lot of holy people and sadhus and all these people used to come and stay in their house. So he was exposed to that, and that became his passion. So when I met him, he was propagating yoga mostly, but then over the years, he developed this unique system, which was sort of derived from Kayakalpa. In India, you have two systems. One is the Ayurveda, which is basically a program for treatment of illnesses and ailments. And they do have, some methods like Panchkarma and all that incorporated for not only treatment, but for wellness as well. But there was another system called Kayakalpa. Kayakalpa is the most perfect wellness system in the world, because I'm in the business of wellness for many decades now. So now Kayakalpa is practically extinct in India. Some people are trying to revive it, but can you imagine that in a place like India where it was born, you don't have Kayakalpa? It's a perfect wellness system, but it also incorporated anti-aging techniques. How do you stay healthy, stay young? So the reason why it didn't survive was that it was practiced by the elites. So the common man went for Ayurveda, but the elites, the noble people, the rulers, the kings, they went for Kayakalpa. That's why they never passed it on, as it were. So in Kayakalpa, you gave up your throne or gave up your work for 90 days, and you went into the forest where you had double-walled huts. So there was some gap between the main bedroom or living room and the outside room, so double-walled. So, and it was quite soundproof. And so there was a small hole there through which food used to be passed in. And then the therapist or the healer would come and give various types of techniques. They did yoga, they did different kayas, but the main thing was diet, yoga, massages, and some external treatments. So, and their main remedy was an extract. I call it the elixir of life, and that's based from amla. So I grow them in, I pick them up from the forests of Central Asia, Central India, all this Vindhyachal range and, and that sort of Eastern Rajasthan. So basically the amla is grated and made juice into, and then dried in direct sun. And this you repeat for 21 times. So it takes a long time to prepare this. But I tell you, I had it tested. It's a perfect antioxidant. Perfect antioxidant from amla. Amla has the highest quantity of vitamin C in any fruit, except that it's preserved so well. It's preserved so well that it doesn't get destroyed. So in ancient times, 3,000-4,000 years ago, they made this elixir. It's a powder. It has a slightly bittersweet aftertaste. So they use that with honey, plus the kayas that they did. And it is said that your hair turned into black, teeth were made stronger, eyesight stronger, libido was stronger, and your skin looked perfectly well. So this used to be a 90-day program. So with my master, we worked out, putting in science and all my discoveries. I put in more stuff into it. And he told me not to use the word anti-aging. So he suggested that I call it time reversal. So my brand today is time reversal. I ran sort of Ayurvedic-based spa in Kerala. There I introduced this system. It was very popular. A lot of Russians used to come there just to have this time reversal program. I used it in my Oman spa. I used it in my Italian spa. So I have done enough work to say that that this is a system, perfect system of wellness, which not only rejuvenates you, but makes you healthy, you see. So firstly, you must understand one very important thing, that you should not be ill. You should not be ill. So what are the three main things that I suggest that in order to keep the, the energy balance? Because that's the crucial thing. If you don't have energy, you're not going to heal properly. Your so-called immune system, which is basically an inner force within us, innate force. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, he said many things. His oath is used now at the end of the medical course. But
Hippocratic oath.
One of the things he said was, quite importantly, that every one of us in nature have an innate healing power. So you have cuts, burns, bruises, fractures, the common cold. If you treat it, you heal it in 7 days. If you don't, in a week. So basically, we heal ourselves. So many times you've cut your fingers, but what happened to the scars? Look at the fractures. When they heal, and they heal so perfectly that on an X-ray, you cannot even find out where the fracture was. There are no scar tissues at all. So that's how perfectly the body can heal. And that can only happen with energy. That's what Hippocrates said, that to build up that energy, you got to basically have diet, some exercises. So, and they created the system of spas, right? System of spas. Salus per aquam, health through water. And you have these spas everywhere, but nobody uses. Only a few handful of spas use the original Hippocratic principles. I do not know whether Hippocrates knew about Kayakalpa or not, but there's a lot of similarities between his treatments and our Kayakalpa. I'm not sure, because the trade was going on after Alexander the Great went to India, and and all that. So I really don't know what happened, but there's a lot of similarities in that. So Hippocrates made it into a modern thing 2,500 years ago, and Kayakalpa, it is believed, is 3,000 plus years old. So in Kayakalpa, in the so-called modified Kayakalpa, time reversal, I use basically 7 secrets. I call it 7 secrets, but basically the diet. The diet has to be alkaline, because the alkaline diet, as scientists have now proved, prevents a lot of diseases. So you have to avoid, excess of lemon, orange, and chilies, and all sorts of things which increase stomach acid. Now, there's a misconception that the more acid you have, the more alkaline the body is. That's really very stupid logic. Because if you have, so much of acid and the blood is still alkaline, that means all of the acid in the stomach has to be converted into alkaline. Imagine the energy, the force, the chemicals that are needed to do that. So it's wrong. Then we have the form of exercises. Hippocrates used dumbbells and all sorts of things and swimming. But in Kayakalpa, of course, yoga is a perfect form of sort of exercising the mind and the body. Then you had the system of massages. Now, this is where the difference comes in. In Hippocrates' times, you used a lot of sort of different types of massages, kneading and frictional massage and pummeling and pinching and scratching. All these techniques were used. But in Ayurveda, you use the Panchkarma and the Marma. But what I have developed is something interesting, which is used in this program. That is, one is Marma, which is in the body, there are 105 points, which you press and rejuvenate, reactivate the whole body, but you don't do the whole thing in one session. You do it in a different way. So it's a system of massage. In India, people are crazy about calling all this acupressure. Acupressure is not. Marma is similar, and I'm not sure where the Chinese got it from. Was it from southern India? That all these, through Buddhism and all that, it transferred there. But we did have a system which the martial art practitioners of Kerala and other places, they use, in the treatments. Even the wrestlers, they had systems that if you got injured, you quickly did this therapy, and you could reinstate the energy, and you could reinstate the sort of pain and all sorts of things. Now, so that, and together with that, I have discovered something very interesting. The brain has 2 types of blood vessels supplying oxygen and glucose. One is the carotid, carotid, which is in the front. And the other one is inside the neck. Inside the neck, the vertebral arteries, which are protected in a canal, you see. So I studied that artery for, 25, 30 years. And I wrote a book called The Neck Connection. So basically, the conscious brain gets its blood supplied through the carotid arteries. The subconscious brain, or the autonomous brain gets its blood supplied through the other one. That's logical as well, because mammals have carotid arteries, but reptiles have vertebral arteries. So, so new blood supply, a new part of the brain, new blood supply. That's the logic. So because of increase of blood flow to the subconscious brain, that's where healing takes place. That's where rejuvenation takes place. That's where the hormones, hormonal centers are. That's where the memory centers are. the short-term memory and part of the long-term memory. That's where coordination, your homeostasis, your digestion, your libido, everything is connected by is controlled by the subconscious brain or the reptilian brain or the autonomous brain. So conscious brain deals with conscious thinking, voluntary movement, logic, analysis, and long-term memory. So, but subconscious brain does everything else for the body, everything else. So, if you cut out the conscious brain, as in lobotomy, the person can live for years. There's no problem. So the autonomous brain is very important. So by feeding the blood, I noticed some incredible things that not only do you heal better, so that has become the basis of my healing without drugs. And I'm a specialist in this, believe me. It's a perfect system. I wrote that bestseller book, which scientists are now trying to think. I just got a message to say in Parkinson's, the cerebellum, Parkinson's, autism, which is what I have been talking about, and cerebral palsy, they're all related to functions of the cerebellum, the back of the head, the small part of the brain. Now that gets its blood supply through the circular. So I have been treating these conditions by improving blood flow. Now, here's what is very interesting. There was a lady who was in coma. I have done about 24, 25 cases of long-term coma. There's a lady who was in coma for 8 years, and she looked like 19, although she was in her late 40s. So we managed to get her consciousness back. And I went to Bangkok after about 6 months to see how the family called for me, how she was doing. And I was shocked because in those 6 months, she aged back to her, the hair went gray, everything. Yet when she was in coma, she looked like a 19-year-old girl. So the mind is very, very important. So managing your stress, managing your thing, which becomes the next part of this secret treatment, which is using meditation, but also confrontational meditation. It could be Vipassana or whatever, but basically you tackle your stress every time you get it. So it's not like we leave it for later, when I have time. If you are very angry, you learn through your breathing techniques, slow breathing to calm yourself. Whenever you have a moment, you don't have to feel shy about it. So you tackle it. You're facing an interview, your heartbeat is up. So do some of this breathing, slow breathing, hypercapnic, which is you hold your breath for 10 seconds, release it, again hold it for 10 seconds. So like that, you continue like that, the heart will slow down because all the blood vessels will dilate, and as a result of accumulating a lot of carbon dioxide in blood, and your fingers and toes will get warmer, if they're cold, if you do that. So there are many uses. Your nose is blocked due to sinuses or allergies. You practice this breathing, and the nose opens up. So this breathing is used for stress. I mean, if you're having panic attacks, you blow into a paper packet, and after a few minutes of breathing carbon dioxide, you become calm. You know that. This is a common treatment for, this like this. So if you have hiccups, you hold your breath, and after a while, the hiccup goes. So there's a lot of use in that. So that you should use in your practice, not only in organized meditation sessions, but during the day, throughout the day. Learn to visualize pleasant places, pleasant moments in your life, and you superimpose those in times of stress. So that has to be an ongoing thing for any anti-aging or time reversal program. It's very important. Then, of course, we have the applications. So the skin is very interesting. So when you scrub it, and you exfoliate the skin. You see, the new skin grows pretty fast because, there's been attack on the body, so-called, and so the body wants to refill the skin very quickly. So we use fresh aloe vera immediately after the exfoliation or scrubbing with papaya seeds and other things, and we cover it all, with that. Then we have the different facial treatments and hair treatments. So basically, some of these things have come from some ancient literature, of the Persian queens and Nur Jahan and all this. Their beauty treatments, they were so perfect. They used to take the pigment of the red rose, Persian rose, and they used to tattoo it into the lips. So they had permanent red lips, and beautifully done, and they were done by artists. So these things were always there. There are different baths, there are different application on the body. So I basically use some of the essential oils. We have day cream, night cream. So all this, together with sleep, together with proper sleep and evacuation of bowels and hygiene, then make sure that the oils that are massaged into the scalp, they work like this. They help in retaining your hair or improving the hair growth. So all this together forms the thing. But what I started with was maintenance of health, because if you're ill, you're going to age pretty fast. You have to lie in an hospital for 3 weeks, and when you come out, when you try to walk, you can barely walk. You look different. There's a lot of swelling in the body and all sorts of things. So, and plus the drugs that you take does have an adverse effect on your health. So basically, if you control your stomach acid, if you control your inflammation, see, they're all over the body. There are small pockets of inflammation. It could be the gums, could be the sinuses, it could be the joints, could be the colon, could be the vagina, it could be anything, inflammation of the skin. So the body is constantly trying to get rid of these inflammations, because I told you there's an innate healing power in the body. And wherever it finds the defect, or wherever the health deviates from normal, it goes, the energy that you have within yourself goes to heal that quickly. And that's why curcumin, the haldi, has become so popular, because scientists have begun to realize that it is a good thing for health. So we use that. And then the third thing is energy building. Now, energy building means walking in fresh air and getting the diet right, getting the vitamins in the body right, and make sure that you don't have, you have perfect digestion, no gases, proper elimination, as I said. So, and sleep. If you don't sleep, you burn your night fuel, and you lose a lot of energy there. So sleep is very important. So sometimes in a meditative state, even if you don't sleep well, then you can use this to actually relax your body and calm your mind. And then with that, you can have enough rest for the brain. Then there are methods of power napping during the day. If you have not slept well at night, you can use 15 minutes twice a day or something like that, where you do the breathing and practice the system of savasana without lying on your back. And you focus on your forehead, your neck, your shoulder, your spine, your lower back, your legs, knees, ankles, toes. So like that, so it's not the classic one where you start with your toes, but I think having sort of practice hypnosis, I think this auto-suggestive hypnosis is a good way of relaxation, which you can use in your power napping several times. So it's not that you have to, suffer because of not sleeping at night. Basically, sleep, when you have insomnia, you have one defect in your body. That is the reversal of the cycle, diurnal cycle, that is day-night cycle. You are awake at night and tired during the day. So due to the melatonin and adrenaline imbalances, so what happens is nighttime you're so awake and during the day you're drowsy. So it's like a permanent jet lag within your body. That's what insomnia is. And we make a huge fuss, oh, insomnia, you have to say sleep for 8 hours and 6 hours and all that. But so if you lack in melatonin, you will not sleep very well, okay? And then once you take melatonin, make sure you switch off all the lights, because melatonin gets instantly destroyed in light, you see? So therefore you have to make sure that balance is there. And my neck connection treatment improves blood flow to the pineal gland, and that area where relaxation is carried out. Melatonin is secreted. Melatonin is a hormone for rest and repose. Adrenaline is a hormone for activity, the go-go hormone, you see? So there has to be a balance between the two. You work hard, especially nowadays, but at the same time, you have to have time for rest and repose. So this is the thing. A classic example is that most people who have insomnia, they wake up around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 a.m., because that's when the night hormone changes to day hormone. You see, the birds start waking up. It's a particular time of the night that, or the transition from night to dawn, that period. And you wake up. It's the same in nature. Birds wake up around the same time. So we have that problem. That indicates that the problem of insomnia, which is very important for any anti-aging process, you have to do that, okay? So understand that. So then you need some juices, you need some vitamins and minerals. In the old days, they didn't have that. They took the amla elixir, as I call it, and that helped, in supplying enough vitamin C. And through your diet, you get all the other, the raw salads and all sorts of things. So although this is a very ancient system, but over the years, I studied it very thoroughly, compared it with Hippocratic medicine. And then, while I made these discoveries about Marma, I did my PhD in acupuncture, so I know what it does. And I don't use it, but I know what it does. So I use Marma, which is similar in a way, but it has the same effect. You can cure illnesses, cure insomnia, cure so many things by using the Marma points. And, you don't have to puncture, although they used to use thin bamboo sticks to apply pressure to these points in ancient times. And it was called Snayu Vidya. So as a when you do it in an integrated way, combine the whole thing, the body starts to behave very well. But in my spas, of course, I take away the phone, because that disturbs a lot. Computers, phone, and all these programs and the television. We might run in the spas that I run. We might run some program of good music, classical music, soothing videos of beautiful places, nature, and mountains and sea and birds. So so you have to, all your thoughts, they're entangled, like your like your hair. So you give them a comb to clear the thoughts, And as you comb your hair, all these strands of your thoughts get intact. So for that, you have to stay away from all this. People find it very odd. Around the 2-3 days, 4 days, they are very upset. They can't use the thing and say, well, we have got, our business is going, this going. But that is one thing that you have to avoid. Again, I told you, it's in the mind, I'm sure that those who, bury themselves in yoga, and there have been experiments done, at least by Dhiren Brahmachari, and people who came out, they looked much younger. Although one would think that with in the hibernative state, you probably lack in oxygen and you're going to be sick. And on the contrary, they come out very well. Animals too, and after coming out of hibernation, like bears and things like, when they come out, they look like, although they lose all their fat, they fatten themselves up during the summer and hibernate during the winter months. And so, but they look very, 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 young, as if, they're ready to run around, eat themselves up again. And so this is the basic principle of rejuvenation, anti-aging, and many of the things can be done at home on a regular basis, such as, say, even the yoga. The yoga that I have introduced is exercising every part of the body: the eyes, the throat, the nose, the ears, the shoulders, the joints, the abdomen, the heart, and of course, the mind. So you exercise the entire body. So the exercises are slightly different, but not much. And so you can do that exercise every day, which is good. And fresh air is very important. And then it's digestion and sleep. Twice a month, if you can afford it, go and have some massages. The Ayurvedic massage or Panchakarma is good enough, but you could have the physical massages. Somebody's doing marma, you can go and do that. So there's a big future in this. I think India has got a lot to teach the world on spa management. Spa treatment has become so popular now. But, yes, in some, the classical spas, Salus per aquam, basically you have waters at different temperature. So the first one is pretty warm, then it's less and less, and then there's cool water. So you shift from one tub or one swimming pool to another with different temperatures. So as soon as you go into the first one, the body dilates and you perspire, it's quite warm, and you have all those. So gradually you move to the other things. So your body is adapting at every stage. And so adaptation is one of the most powerful parameters of life. Adaptation. So if you adapt to stress, you adapt to certain types of foods, so you can do it sensibly, So if you have been eating poorly or a lot of rubbish, so once you get adapted to eating healthy, you have a lot of things, changing within the body. So now, finally, I would like to say that we have, this is a time-tested method, and it has worked, and it will work.
Yes. Thank you for that explanation, Doctor. If we can just get your opinion, perhaps, before signing off, on COVID and how you feel longevity and anti-aging has been impacted post-COVID.
Well, COVID is a engineered disease. So I can't have any other option but to say that this has to stop. This has to stop. It's an invasion on our freedom, invasion of our lives, invasion of our economies. So I have nothing more to say. I'm very clear about it. I've studied. I've been in healthcare for a long, long time, and I created a system of healthcare where you don't use the medicines, but use your body's forces to do this. So let's be, I know it's not politically correct to say that, but this has to stop. I cannot have any opinion when this is an artificial thing. I cannot. It's invading our body, even so much that my innate healing power, that power that heals, gets totally fooled by it. It cannot cope. The body heals everything. Cuts, burns, bruises, fractures, as I said, but it can't fight with this. So what's going on? Who found out that if you can paralyze that system, that innate healing power, right? You can die. So I have no opinion on that. Sorry.
Yes. No, sir. It's very poignant your point about COVID capturing the system, which is basically your immune system and your healing system, and how it has had a massive impact on life as we know it today. But apart from, of course, Kaya Kalp and the Ayurvedic techniques that you've spoken about and the massaging, if you had to share some advice, simple things for the general public.
Basically, again, you try and do a wellness program for yourself, which I've just spoken about, because the chances are the immune system will be better, and somehow the body is not a fool. It's just that it's been invaded by something very, very tricky, from genes onwards. So it has to learn. But this cannot go on forever. The body learns from everything. Its evolution happened because of that power within all living beings. Because of that power, we evolved, came out of water, lived on dry lands, learned to fly, all because of the situations that existed at that period. So if evolution happens, what is COVID?
Yes. So according to
the survival mode is very powerful in us.
Yes.
Initially, we'll die, of course, like they died, coming out of water.
Yes. What do you see is the future, sir, of wellness and longevity per se, especially in this world post-pandemic?
More people, I know the spa industry is growing at a rate of 15% or so, and maybe from 8 to 15. And so people are becoming conscious now. When I was in India in the early 80s, I was there for a few years, and there was nothing of this. So when I started my acupuncture and a program like this, they were surprised. Neem Hakim has come back from abroad, with all these strange things. My own colleagues, they did that. But I had a very successful practice. The Doordarshan did a documentary on me called Search for an Alternative Cure, where I showed people coming out of coma and stroke and this, that, arthritis, and it went berserk. Thousands of people turned up at my clinic in Delhi, and I had to leave India. I couldn't survive because there's just too many patients. So I tried to, except for a few pockets of acupuncture. There's nothing of that sort. During the, during a certain era in our thing, Ayurveda was condemned. Allopathy was the system. Now it's all coming back. Initially, of course, they started with Reiki and pranic healing and a bit of yoga and all these sort of things. But now it's quite, Ayurveda is being sold
Resurrected.
pretty well. Yoga, when the celebrities in the West started doing yoga, it became a household name, and it still is.
Yes.
No other system
Yes.
of exercise can match it.
Yes.
Mind, body, meditation. So there's a big future, So
Yes.
I know my allopathic colleagues won't like this, but they have to evolve. Maybe COVID
Yes.
has taught them a whole thing. Look
Yes.
at this
Yes.
thing with artificial intelligence. And me, who always believed in nature, suddenly realized that artificial intelligence is based on logic, not science.
Yes.
That's my thing. So I'm also working for my pain management techniques. You give me any type of pain and I'll cure it. So we are in discussions of making a thing like that. But pain management, $1 trillion section of the healthcare, opiate crisis in America is huge, right? And I'm talking about drug-free pain management. Of course, some of these techniques have come from ancient times, but I'm going to face the challenge. Not so easy.
Yes.
This is the way of life, evolution. We have to evolve.
True.
Like artificial intelligence, robotics, all these things are doing. It's going to make the doctors think that we got to use logic and not science all the time. Evidence-based. I mean, come on. It's a way of suppressing all these alternate thoughts. These are not alternate. Which is alternate? The new medicine. This has been there for thousands of years.
Yes. I think that's a beautiful point you've made about, practices that we've had for thousands of years and how only for the last few centuries or perhaps even just a single century, we've had new medicine take over.
There's been thing at the UN Conference on Innovations on different fields. I spoke on this particular thing. Why do we have to innovate things all the time? Why not take the knowledge of the past and use that? That's innovation.
Yes.
In a way, and I had a standing ovation because I explained, I demonstrated how to read the pulse. I demonstrated how to look at the tongue, to diagnose things. We doctors used to use it.
Yes.
Until the early 60s, if you went to a doctor, they would look at your tongue, look at your eyes, feel your pulse. And that system is gone. Why not bring it back? At least at the grassroots level, I'm not saying, but get a basic idea of what's going on in the body.
Yes.
Basic idea before you move into tests and this and that. And that's where artificial intelligence would be fantastic.
Fantastic, yes.
Even I'm for it. Initially, I didn't quite understand that how can the human brain be replaced? But logic, Aristotle, Plato, Homer, Socrates, they all used logic to prove things, and they were pretty correct. Yes, we have science. We have to have respect. Without science, we can't move. We can't understand. But a bit of logic in science is also needed.
True, very true. I would just like to discuss one of the points that you spoke about earlier in our conversation, sir, which was alkalinity, and how you feel that the Hippocratic foundation of alkalinity in our body is very important. Could you tell us how we can, form an alkaline lifestyle for normal people?
I tell you, the orange lobbyists, lemon lobbyists of California and other places, they try to say that, vitamin C is important, but they try to say that, in classic Ayurveda, lemon was not a popular thing. It wasn't even recommended. Even in this fasting, they use lemon and honey. It wasn't. So we are eating too fast. That creates acid. And not masticating your food, too much of nuts, too much of alcohol, too much of chilies, too much of meats, to all the things that produce. So you change the diet and you'll be okay.
Yes.
Again, by the same principles, the body heals itself.
You said that amla is something which has far more vitamin C than any other.
Yeah. So basically, orange. If you have, say, Californian orange juice, how citric it is, how acid. Sometimes it burns your throat.
Yes.
Burns your throat. It's so acid. Whereas amla, you never have that because the alkaloids that surround the vitamin C in amla is so perfectly positioned in nature that they don't cause that. Amla is used to treat acidity.
Yes. The elixir that you spoke about, the anti-aging, the reverse age effect elixir, which is based on amla. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, sir?
So basically, two things I must say. They used to use mewa. Now, until they discovered vitamins, mewa was the thing you use for everything, to boost your health, to boost this, that. And similarly, amla. Amla was used because they didn't know about vitamin C then. They didn't know, but they knew that something was there that helped life. It was in later years when we started, started investigating all these things, that we found that vitamin C was the crucial thing in this.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
Yeah.
And mewa, I have a cereal called breakfast mewa. And I put all these ingredients of mewa. It's so popular. The mewa was the superfood of ancient India. Don't forget that. You took it to a sick person, you took it to, elderly people, and you gave each other gifts of mewa, dried fruits and nuts and all sorts of things. They knew that there was something, the microelements, the vitamins, the nutrients that are there, help the body.
Yes.
Before we had multivitamins and all sorts of things.
Yes. It's very interesting. It's interesting to note that something that we used to use in our ancient past had so much more benefit.
We grew up with it. We didn't know about it.
Yes.
So in my spas, I use this breakfast mewa. Every morning they have this porridge with the amla.
Yes.
Every morning they have this breakfast mewa, which is my porridge. It's a royal porridge.
Yes. So, and this plays
used by royal families.
It plays an extremely important role in the Kaya Kalpa treatment that you have formulated, sir?
Well, Kaya Kalpa, they have to revive. There are one or two spas in India which are called the Kaya Kalpa spa, but they're far away from the real stuff. They're using the Ayurvedic Panchkarma and some advice, some thing, and they tell the kitchen to make Ayurvedic diets. I mean,
How can we get that restarted, sir? How can we get that back to India, and how can we popularize Kaya Kalpa and make it known back to our population?
We can. But I did it in Tandoor because I live abroad, you see. The Ayurvedic oils and although they're wonderful, they're pretty messy and smelly.
Yes.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. And the question is, where does that oil go if it's not recycled? So your dosha will come to my body, my dosha will go to some other body if you don't purify it.
Yes.
3 liters of oil per person, where does it go? That's my point. You got to move away from that. I extracted all these oils, and we use a technique to impregnate the skin so that it goes there and probably does the same things.
Yes.
Nowadays you can use different techniques, nano techniques.
Yes.
So you don't have to make it so messy that your hair smells, the body smells. My God, you get headaches from treatment.
It is quite an intense Ayurvedic massage treatment. Is very wasteful as well.
It's very popular. I know it's very popular, But
Yes.
so anyway,
So,
thank you for.
Thank you, sir. Just before we sign off, are there any last words you'd like to say, or last
Well,
advice you could say
sleep
to our
well,
young generation?
drink enough water, right? Eat slowly, walk slowly, and make sure you eliminate well. So the diet is right. That's all.
Perfect.
This could be the mantra that you're looking for.
Yes. Thank you so much for that
Thank you.
extremely
Thank you.
enlightening conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Mosaraf Ali, who joined us from Milan. And thank you for being part of this beautiful talk and conversation, and which was extremely enlightening and fruitful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Okay.